Welcome, everyone. I know many of you. There are some new faces too, and I am so grateful to have this opportunity to present to you an idea that started when I started offering the Powerful Progress program, which many of you have attended. This is a spin off from that program, and this topic, willpower, comes quite a lot in my day-to-day clinical practice when I see patients. So I was like, maybe it's time to kind of come up with a nice insightful presentation and then a small program so that my patients feel much more empowered in their daily lives, not like feeling that they are victims of this willpower thing, right? So that's the genesis of this talk today. So you know me, many of you know me. I'm Priya. I am mom to a sophomore high schooler, a diva, and also a registered dietitian. And in my practice as a registered dietitian, I derive my professional purpose in helping my patients connect the dots between knowing and integrating lifestyle practices in the areas of eating better, moving better, sleeping better, managing their stresses better, so that each of my patients are able to experience better health outcomes. The letters after my name just tells that I love school. I love going. That's kind of my addiction. You may want to say, but I'm a very open, transparent person, and in all of my discussions, I bring in three little favorite words. It's like being kind, being curious, and being honest. It's addressing those three inner voices that we have, which is the inner bully voice can walk out of this room. You can have that curious detective and the wise mind inside you as we step through our discussion today. I think I mentioned to you this. That's my boy. He's now a high schooler. That was taken, I think, before he started his freshman year. He's now tall, has some beard going and all of that. I love moving. I love a good conversation. I love talking to people. And I gain a lot during these conversations, just like how you are taking away from this course today. So to give you some context, which I already did, when I have my first initial consultation with my patients, they always tell me that, Priya, whatever you are asking us to do, we already know that we have to do that, but we just don't want to do it, right? So I'm like, okay, no, you know what to do, which is like, I believe 95% of human beings really know how to take care of their health, but it's in that translation that I really don't want to do. How do I help my patients get out of that mindset and move towards, I do mindset, right? So the willpower experiments today are all research oriented. As a clinician, for the work that I do, I need to know a lot about how our brain works. I'm not a neurosurgeon, but I'm just a neuroscientist. So the willpower experiments that I'm going to share with you today are all teeny weeny experiments, but they are very powerful, meaning investing a little bit of effort on those experiments is shown to give you back X times more. Okay, so and that's, I think, what we are all looking forward to. What's a small thing that I can do so that I can feel much healthier, more happier, much more in control of what I want to do. So all these experiments are research driven. I will bring in the studies as they are relevant, because studies sometimes get boring. So I'll try to present the relevant studies in a way that is that is joyful, or that is that feels like very sarcastic, or you can take it however it comes, but I'm not going to drown you into experimental studies today. Okay, so with that context, and to kind of get the ball rolling, I'm curious, what is a willpower challenge that you faced today? Being kind, being curious, being honest. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the beginning of a new month,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of decided that I would get back to walking every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did walk 2 miles this morning. And I'm going to try and do it.
Mm-hmm. So that's a I will challenge, right? What else?
For me, it's just like cravings, hunger, wanting to snack on things that aren't healthy.
Mm-hmm. So that's more like I won't challenge. I know that I should not eat that. So being able to resist those, that's the I won't challenge. What else?
Getting ready, like eating this morning when I knew I had to drive up here, I had something to do, so I want to grab something real quick and not having it planned out. You know, if I had planned it out or really thought about it, wasn't so tired last night, I would have fixed some overnight oats or something like that I just could. Well, I didn't, so I had to think about something that and it's not always the healthiest or the best thing for me. I try to keep things around, but sometimes so that's a challenge when I have to get up and go and I have a plan for it.
Yeah, so that's more of a I will challenge.
Yeah.
I will choose, something that is health supporting to me instead of something that is not, right? So, if you saw, like we had all, whatever examples were given here were a mix of I will challenge and I won't challenge, right? But usually when we think about the word willpower, right, I have heard that, oh, I wish I have that willpower, as if, it's a superman or a superwoman or a super person, right? But really speaking, willpower is entirely not about resisting temptations. There is that aspect of I will, I won't, and there is also that I want in there. So, what is willpower actually? In my books, and also from research, and also from my clinical practice, willpower is the sort of competition that happens inside us, right? Trying to weigh 2 or 3 options and trying to find out what is the best thing that is going to support you move towards the direction that you want to, right? So I usually, it's like, do I actually go for that candy bar as a snack, or do I choose that banana, right?
It's like having those conscious people sitting in your
Yes, like the angel. Yeah, right. It's more of an internal conflict that is happening. Or it could be that, do I go for that bag of chips? Or can I have, that cucumber or whatnot, which again kind of gives the crunch which potato has. Of course, it doesn't hit that parts of the brain that feels like that promise of reward, right? The dopamine part. It doesn't, cucumber or banana.
It's not savory.
It is not. So you can add something to it to make it savory, yet it is not going to hit that part of the brain which has that promise of reward, right? The dopamine reward center, it doesn't hit. And food industry has really found that equation. There is an equation that's in my mind, though I cannot put it together really well. It's like sugar times fat times crunch divided by something is equal to that dopamine. So they have really crafted that dopamine click, right? Whereas the real foods probably do not reach there, but they do help in a part of our brain which we will discuss, the front part of our brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex. It actually gives a lot of good energy there, the whole foods, to help you take those decisions, right? And some of my patients actually think that this internal conflict is sometimes like running away from a dog. right? However, or a dog or a lion or whatever you may think. There is difference between these two these two brain systems, right? The brain system that gets highlighted here and the brain system that gets highlighted here are different, and that's the reason why neuroscientists usually tell that we human beings have one brain but possibly two minds, right? And those two minds is actually, in this case, it's a fight or flight response which gets excited in a different part of the brain, whereas this is usually a pause and plan response, right? Both are physiological responses because it's just not the brain, it's your brain and your body that's involved in that. However, there is difference between those. In fight or flight, it's like, your body is saying that, I need to give a lot of glucose to my legs, lot of glucose to, pump those adrenalines and get me running. Whereas in this response, the pause or plan response, your mind is saying, calm down, you have time to respond, which means your heart rate comes down, your glucose level actually goes down instead of going up. And that's why sometimes that cheesecake feels like a little bit more appetizing compared to, sorry, I am a little long.
But you talk yourself into, I mean, seriously, look at these two pictures.
Yeah.
Which one looks better?
You tell me.
And of course, the one with the chocolate and chips.
Yeah.
And there's been studies.
Yeah.
Let the record show
Uh-huh.
that chocolate is supposed to be somewhat good for you.
Yeah, it is good, but I'm not saying it's not. I think the idea here is not to say what is. Absolutely. The idea here is not, even me too. Idea here is not to find out, what is good or bad, but to understand our brain system so that when opportunities present too often in the upcoming months, you are able to make the better decision to take care of yourself, right? And it's also important to have those joy experiences. It's not that, you want to be that 100% perfect person or that A+ person, which is very boring. You want to be in that B+ space so that you are still honoring your needs, but at the same time, making those more mindful joy experiences choices, right? So that's the idea here. Now, what does willpower consist of?
Oh, strength.
Being able to say no.
Good mindset. Like,
Yeah.
Determination.
It's it's determination. You said being able to say no, being able to say yes, right? So actually willpower, contrary to our usual belief that willpower needs a lot of strength, which we do, and that strength can actually be trained, which we will discuss today, just like how you can train your muscle, or how you can train your cardiovascular capacity. This willpower brain or willpower muscle can also be trained. But willpower actually consists of three things, as one of our friends mentioned here: the I will power, the I won't power, and also the third important thing is crucial, the I want power. What is it that you are wanting, right? The you part of it, which is actually, a very complex equation there, and nobody has been able to figure it out. All those personality tests, everything is out there to kind of find out what is my unique makeup, right? What is, each of your unique makeup? And there is still a lot more to go. And when you have your want really, 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 pointed down, you would, really be excited to see that one little option on that fast food restaurant that you go to, and be excited that, oh, that is in alignment with my highest values and my biggest goals, rather than feeling deprived. Oh gosh, I can't have that Big Mac. Oh gosh, I can't have that. But you really feel like, it's like a light that, oh, that is that one little thing that I'm able to choose because it is in alignment with my highest values and my biggest goals, which is this I want. Okay, so moving forward, where does willpower live? Does it live here, here, here? Where does it live?
It lives everywhere. My heart, my brain,
Yeah.
it drives you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it is. It is a physiological response, right? It is all over your body, but there is one place where science has figured out that it lives from all those research studies, from all those science studies. It turns out that we have two minds. That's the impulsive mind here, which is called the amygdala, which is the oldest part of your brain. So when our ancestors were wandering around in the Serengeti, deserts or Serengeti forest, looking at what's that, saber-toothed tigers and whatnot, right? That was the oldest part of brain that was developed, and that's where our fight or flight response resides. Okay, whereas the pause and plan response, your wise brain, is actually here at the front end. And all the experiments today that I am going to present to you, which are also part of that 4-week series that's going to happen the remaining 4 Tuesdays of this month, are all tailored to making this part of your brain a little bit more stronger, a little bit more, a little bit more mindfuler, if that's such a word, so that you are able to use that willpower in a way that is in alignment with your highest values and your biggest goals. And this part of the brain is called the prefrontal cortex, or PFC in short. And you will see in your handout at the back, the last bonus experiment there is train your PFC, and we will get to that. So PFC is actually prefrontal cortex, which is this part of the brain. And this is a very recent evolution, right? This was the ancient one, the amygdala, the deep inside, whereas this one is a very recent development compared to our, cavemen. So we have two minds, and depending on your energy levels, depending on your stress levels, depending on how good you have nourished yourself, depending on if you have mood in a certain day, so depending on a lot of factors, either one of those energies, brain systems will be active. So that's why sometimes you feel like that potato chips is calling your name, whereas on other times you feel like, oh no, I don't need that. I can actually choose a different one, which is more in alignment with your values and your goals. So there is nothing good or bad between you wanting that potato chips or wanting that different choice. It's just that, there are a lot of mechanisms happening in your body, and you do have the power to, ask for this wiser mind to come and help you, depending on, complex things that are happening in your body, which you do have the power to train your wise mind. Okay, so moving ahead, the underlying question that you would want to answer, which is that ground level, the I want, right? What is most important to you? What matters to you? What are your values, right? Those are the things that actually contribute to your I want. Okay, and if this is a very safe place, it's a kind, curious, honest space, and for you to be able to really understand that I want, which is an exercise that we will do next week at the start of our program, with that curious mind, feel comfortable to share either loud or in your notes section. What are 3 values that is very, very, very important to you? Giving you a few seconds here. Identify your top 3 values that will be your source of strength when those internal conflicts happen. And those internal conflicts are humanness, right? So Anybody likes to share their? Yes.
Well, I just had one. I just said honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Honesty is like a good, it's one of my,
Strongest
Mhm.
pursuit. Mm-hmm. What else? What else values? Who else would like to kind of share their most important values?
For me, being able to curtail or modify this craving for sweets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sugarholic,
Mm-hmm.
but I tried to cut it off completely.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I tried to modify it. So I'm still trying to work that out.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. And we can dig deep on why do you want to do that, maybe in the next class. And I'm not a person who asks why, but sometimes it's important to ask that why, so that bulb kind of
Right.
what else? Who
so
else
when you're
would?
saying values, because I'm trying to, do you want us to answer in pertaining to like a diet, or do you want us to answer it pertaining to our entire life? 'Cause
Entire
that's
life.
the way, because my daily life is, all of that. Being honest with myself, I know what I'm supposed to do. Do I do it all the time?
I am not
So
asking
that's why
about.
like honesty is like, those core,
Yeah, it's
that's
about.
like for like everything.
Yeah, what
Okay.
matters to you in
Oh,
your
okay.
life? That's all.
Okay.
What matters to you in your life?
I put health, family, and sanity.
Mm-hmm. Health, family, and sanity. Yeah.
Independence. As I get older,
Mhm.
I think back about my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she had some health issues, and she was, dependent on us to do for her. And she couldn't stay at her house as long as she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at that point where I live by myself now. And I know if I don't change some of my stuff or do some of my things the way I know I should,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lose some of that independence. I'm going to be more dependent
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not going to be able to move like I'd like to move and go and do. And it's just,
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
independence,
totally.
I think our generations are more in tune to that.
Yeah.
Back then, I think it was just the norm that the families would, take care, but
Well, it
we don't
doesn't.
want that, because even if you have kids or whatever, they have their own lives, and you don't want them. I didn't have my child to care for,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But you're right. That's the way it used to be, because I can remember my mother when my grandmother was by herself. When my mother fixed meals, she fixed an extra meal for my grandmother and put them in the freezer and then took them to her. I can remember when my mother lost her independence after her stroke and her cancer and everything, and could not drive, and then she couldn't think properly and process things. Well, we had to do for her, and she did not like that, but we still had to do for her. But my kids are very busy with their lives. It's the example that was set for me. I guess I didn't set it good enough for them, but but that's what I was going to say. It's just different.
Yeah, because a lot of times back then, a lot of times the wife didn't necessarily have to work or whatever. They were more So I think like either like even maybe like your mom's generation, and after that, I think that because now it does take two people to maintain a household.
Yeah.
And kids activities everything is so expensive.
Yeah.
That you just don't have time. I mean, like checking in, with your family and stuff like that. You just thank goodness for FaceTime.
True. So you value independence. You value
Balance. Just balance in life right now.
balance. You value balance in life. You value honesty. You value health, family, and sanity. Right. So those are all the values that's deep down. So when neither of you mentioned like I want to eat vegetables. I want to eat. Or I will move every day. But to be able to, have those values and to be able to address those values, those all need to happen, right? For me, it's about connecting. It's about serving my community, being that mom to my son and see him, grow and graduate and be able to put my doctoral hood when he is doing his doctorate. So, there are so many, but never in that expression of values values, does it come like, oh, I'm going to move every day, I'm going to go to bed at 10 o'clock, I'm going to, doesn't. But to be able to address those values, there are those actions that need to happen. So what you did today here was you identified your values, you affirmed your values by either writing it down or, sharing it with everyone here. So the next step is, to act that is in alignment to those values in your everyday life, so that you are able to live by those values. And when you are able to dig deep and understand that I want, the internal conflict becomes, addressing that internal conflict becomes a little bit more easier, right? I'm not saying it'll go away, because that internal conflict is part of being a human too, right? So moving ahead, how to build or strengthen the willpower muscle. That's going to be our topic for, at least for the next half an hour. And stop me if I'm going fast. I'll be sure to kind of stop and ask some questions. But the first willpower experiment that has been shown to really influence that, the prefrontal cortex, where your highest values, your biggest goals, what this part of the brain is actually doing a lot of heavy lifting every day. It's like, how you lift weights, this part of the brain is doing a lot of heavy lifting. And there is a teeny weeny intervention that research has shown to really influence this part of the brain. Any guesses on what that could be? No. No. More words. What else?
Discipline.
No. It's the most fundamental thing, but it doesn't come up.
So we're so way off track then.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Huh?
It's-
No.
Planning.
No.
So this must be something really simple.
It is very, 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 very simple. It is there on that slide. Definitely. You have all the hints there. You know that I'm a very simple practitioner, a very simple girl. If I cannot put in simple practices as part of my program, then that's not me at all, right? So, who here has ever related to, any of, these images here? So research has shown that, I would want to kind of point out one study at least, a group of substance abuse rehab population. Researchers did a study. They took a bunch of, addicts who were, substance abuse population, and they divided it into two groups. For one group, they had them go through a guided meditation practice so that can improve their sleep. But with the other group, they didn't do something. So with the group who went through that program to improve their sleep, they found that group was more likely, 70% more likely to be impervious to relapse. Right? So just that small sleep intervention kind of showed that, if our brain is able to get more sleep, I'll quickly take you through this. So do you see here those yellow spots in your brain? So this is like a big population of brain scan, the fMRI scan, and it's a population of subjects who had a good restful sleep, like 8 hours of sleep and maybe 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, sleep deprived, the whole gamut of subjects. And they found that, when people are not rested enough, this part of the brain is not able to do its job, right? So this yellow spot means that, it's not activated. What gets activated when you are not rested is this internal part, the amygdala, which is that fight or flight response, which means you are not able to take decisions that is in alignment with your biggest goals and your highest values, right? So similarly here too, you can see when there is no sleep, the internal part of your brain gets lighted up, which means that is more active. Whereas if you see here where there is sleep, that part of the brain is not that active. So getting just 1 more hour of sleep is shown to help your prefrontal cortex make much better decisions so that they are in more alignment with your values that really matter to you. So how can you do that? I do want to show one more thing. So you can see here, this is your amygdala, which is that fight or flight response, and this is your prefrontal cortex, which is like the, you know, the wise mind of you. And when you are rested, that part is regulated, or the, you know, the communication between those parts happen. Whereas when you're not rested, when there's no sleep, this regulation connection is kind of, you know, broken down. So being able to get 1 hour extra sleep in this modern world, what ideas do you have? How can you prioritize your sleep?
It's so hard though, because
Uh-huh.
it's really hard. I mean, I guess if you have a routine, but you know, like for me, I have real bad anxiety, and you know, when I'm trying to settle down and go to sleep, that's when my mind just goes, and I can't, you know, and so I try to have a routine, you know, take a hot bath and try to wind down, and then I want to look at my phone. You know what I mean? It's just all the bad habits.
That's true. That's true.
Phone is your problem.
Well,
You need to turn that phone off probably about 8 o'clock.
girl, are you crazy?
Because that gives you time to settle your body down and kind of calm yourself.
Because then if I'm not on the phone, then I'll probably have the TV on.
That's
That's what I do. You know.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, you know, so
I don't have a problem with sleep. I'm pretty much of a routine person. So like I watch the news, and after the weather is over, it's like, okay, I'm off
Okay,
to
well,
bed.
then, like,
yeah, because you value your sleep, and you know, but you bring up a lot of, you know, struggles, which is normal, which is normal, which is normal, but you know, at least for this 4 upcoming weeks, we are all adults, right? And you know, you can experiment something. It's not like asking you to do something. Experiment something and see if it's going to help you, or how. There is always small improvements that happen. So to your point and to our friend's point here, a small experiment that you can do is to power off things that are known to emit blue light and kind of excite our brain, though we think that it is calming. It's not. Some of my patients say that they need that TV running in the background. I was like, what else can you do? And then, you know, there is some experiments that come up. There is like, you know, maybe some white noise, or they put something in some, and you know, there is always an option there, because I have had some of my patients say, oh, I go to sleep with that, but when I wake up, I'm seeing something in front of me. Yeah, your brain again goes like, oh, ta-da, you know, I'm woken up, right? So maybe for this upcoming 4 weeks, which is an action in the small app that you have all experienced, or most of you have experienced, it's like turning off your screens at least 30 minutes before you know it is your bedtime, so that you can allow your mind to, you know, reset. 30 minutes to 1 hour, right? Do that experiment and see how you grow. There is no, there is no guarantee that you will be able to sleep or get better sleep, but at least you are investing in those actions, right? So that's a curious experiment that you can do. There is.
Suppose you have other things, like I have a geriatric pet, and you know, she's on medication for incontinence. So the medication does remind her, oh, I need to go out, and it makes her very thirsty. So I'm up 2:30 in the morning, you know, letting her out midnight, and typically I don't turn my phone off until probably about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. So and I get up at 5 every day. So that's
You are solution oriented, so I'm going to allow your brain to figure out how you can solve that. Okay, so because each of our lives are very unique, and it's up to each of us to use the time and space to figure out how to honor that rest that each of us needs, right? The second experiment is this magic pill, which industry has not been able to replicate at all. What is that magic pill?
What, sleeping pills?
I know. Would you all gently wake up or get up from your seat? If I can ask you to get up from your seat. Rosie, you may too. Ivory, you may too. And yeah, you can hold to whatever you need to if you feel like, and then just march in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. You may all sit down. So what is that magic pill?
Oh, workout.
Motion, stretching.
Yeah, joyous movement, right? Let's not make it like workout or experiment. There are 100 different ways you can move, and Thrival offers some of the most beautiful exercise programs or physical activity programs. So that magic pill is enjoy a movement every day consistently in a way that works for you. So it can be in this whole spectrum of getting a good strength workout or cardio workout. Oh man, I am so sore today, I am not able to go for that exercise program. What, today I'm just going to walk around in my neighborhood, right? So that's the magic pill that pharma industry has not been able to crack yet. And I will say yet, even 10 years after, if you come to a similar presentation like mine today. And again, there are studies here. I would like to point one study where some researchers in Australia kind of gave gym memberships to, I think, 6 men and 18 women. They didn't tell anything. They just told them that, make good use of the subscription, right? And what these subjects did was, in the first month, they went to the gym once a week. In the second month, they themselves thought, what, I need to kind of go like 2 times a week. And by the third month, they started going 3 times a week. And when they got all those subjects back together, many of them had quit smoking. Many of them had quit drinking. Many of them had become much better, using their money in a much better way. So not just giving them any instructions, just telling them that go make good use of the, gym subscription that you have. So just moving kind of helped them make better decisions, so that this part of the brain gets more energy, is able to use the energy a little bit more efficiently. They also started eating better, which means that processed food started going out of their system. So there were many, magic things that started happening just by starting to include that movement as part of their everyday life. So use your judgment to find out a movement that you are able to enjoy. Going out with a pet, going out with your kids or grandkids or whatever be it. Moving your body kind of really helps this part of the brain to bring those the energy system here to work better. The third one, I am a registered dietitian, so I do need to look for this part. The third experiment is concentrating on whole foods. More so when you have your plate filled with plants, like those stretched hand of veggies, some whole grains or whole food based carbohydrates, and some lean protein. It's shown that this part of the brain has much more consistent energy compared to those sweet cravings or those sweet somethings that we want want to have, or those processed foods that we want to have, because whole foods are a bunch of goodness that Mother Nature had put into it: vitamins, minerals, fiber, right? The processed food, the fiber is kind of stripped off, there is a lot of salt, sugar, whatnot, and but when you have a whole food oriented plate, then this part of the brain functions much more better, meaning that internal conflict lessens. Whenever that internal conflict is presented, you are able to make a decision that is in alignment to what matters to you. Okay, and we will dig into this too as we move through the program. The fourth experiment is curious question here. Can you think back to a willpower step back that any of you had in the recent time? A willpower step back. Something that you said you would, but you couldn't. Or, you said I will, but you couldn't. Think about a willpower step back that you had.
Okay. Has nothing to do with diet.
Mm-hmm.
I love to shop.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we're planning on moving back. And so my husband's like, okay, moving forward, don't bring anything else in the house because, we're continuing to purge and stuff. Hasn't worked yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's a willpower challenge where you want to be more mindful about what you shop, right? Thank you for sharing. What else?
Well, what if you have a good excuse?
Totally. So, but what do you do? For example, say you went and shopped and you got something that you are, what do you tell me about what goes inside you after that.
So you get, sometimes I get immediate gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, do I really need that?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I have a good conscience and say, you know what, I need to take that back.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time it's because I don't even know what I have because I have too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, going through my closet now, like purging, I mean, like, how many white t-shirts do you really need? Or black t-shirts?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So there is that inner dialogue that goes
Yeah.
on. What do you think about your excuse that you
Oh,
mentioned?
well, I was thinking like this past summer,
Mm-hmm.
and it happened last summer too.
Mm-hmm.
I walk. I'm pretty good about walking, and at least 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
But during the summer, it's too hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
It's a valid excuse, right? But it's also your choice to find out what else can I do, right? And that's the thing. So the idea here is, whenever we have those willpower step backs, maybe, I would, if you want to share my willpower challenge, I do love sweets like you. And when it recently happened, I went to a birthday party and I kind of framed it as a joyous experience. Or joyful experience, and I didn't beat down myself. The point is, if you beat down yourself, then you think that that's going to help you not do it again. But you know what? That part of the brain which feels guilty, which feels like, you are not good and whatnot, that part of the brain is not going to help you when similar situation comes again. However, if I am able to forgive myself and say that, oh, this was, me being human. I love sweets, and I know that, the next time similar situation presents, maybe I'm able to do it a little different, maybe, right? So having willpower challenges is being human and looking at the big picture, right? The whole life that's in front of us, and seeing, how we can be compassionate to ourselves, how we can be that honest, curious, kind person and focus on what works. For example, on that day after that birthday party, I came back home, I fixed my dinner, and we had lunch as if that didn't happen at all, right? If it was if it was the previous me that I used to say, oh my goodness, Priya, you are, you did not and whatnot. No, it's part of those willpower challenges. You can frame it in a way and see that it's just maybe one drop in that hole. Does that mean that I give that excuse every day and say that, oh, this is my joy experience, I'm going to have a big piece of cake? No, right? I choose what to do the most of the time, like the 80% of the time, leaving that 20% of the time for me to enjoy those joyous experiences, or seeing that I'm human and being, being that person who is ready to enjoy that human experience, right? So what I am trying to say is, what you do every day matters, rather than the big plan of things that you do once in a while, right? How can you set up your choices in such a way that you are in alignment with your highest values and your biggest goals 80 to 85% of the time, the B plus, so that when once in a while thing happens, it's not going to, it's not going to turn you in the other direction, okay? And people who have been here for my Powerful Progress program do know the significance of iceberg. But I'm curious to know, my new divas here, what do you know about iceberg that floats on the water? What do you know about the iceberg?
What do I know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, currently, because of, you know, they're melting. right
Yes.
now.
Mm-hmm. What else?
So, I
Mhm.
mean, so
Yeah, they are melting.
they're melting.
Mhm.
But I know that they're really supposed to be necessary too, because
Yeah.
the polar bears and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Anything?
I'm so far off on this. So
No problem.
Yeah.
What else? Who knows what's very special about the iceberg that floats on water? Even my previous class
Well,
divas.
it's obviously bigger on the bottom than the top.
Right. It's big. That's why Titanic kind of sank.
What did you say again? It's what?
It's the bigger part is on
The bottom?
underwater.
Yeah.
Than the
Gotcha.
top.
Right? So, how does this relate to the willpower experiments? So, if I move forward, the experiment number 5 is not even using your willpower. How can you do that? Till now, we have been talking about lot about our mindset, right? The foundations, the small things that we do every day matters, rather than the big plan of things that you do once in a while. There is this, layer above the mindset, which is how you set up your environment. If you are able to change your environment or improve your environment, it is much easier than changing yourself, right? When you set up your environment in a way that you really don't even have to have that willpower to make those decisions, it becomes much, 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 much easier to do things that is in alignment with your biggest values and your highest goals, which means things that matter to you. So, so that this teeny weeny willpower, which is just somewhere here, doesn't have to be called in each and every time. And like one of our friends here told, planning ahead is one of the ways that you can do it. If you know that you are someone who feels rushed in the morning, and breakfast doesn't happen because of that, make that choice to get ready with your first meal of the day before. If you know that you are someone who will reach for that candy when you feel stressed, don't even have that candy in your purse, don't even have that candy in your car, right? So set up your environment in a way so that you can address the type of person that you are. So the biggest experiment that you will be doing these upcoming 4 weeks is not using it at all, which means planning ahead, setting up your environment in a way that is health supporting to your biggest values and your highest goals. And how do we do that? One of you mentioned about routines, right? Establishing routines because we human beings are creatures of routine. We brush our teeth every day in the morning. Remember the toothbrush analogy, right? You are able to brush every day in the morning because you have that toothpaste and that toothbrush ready available in your counter. If the toothpaste or toothbrush was not ready available there, if it was somewhere, when in one place one day, the other place the other day, who will be able to brush every day in the morning and at night? Not me at all, right? If I have to make that toothpaste from scratch every day, I'm not going to brush my teeth. Let's accept that human beings love to be lazy, right? That teenager brain is also part of your makeup, and we like to be lazy. So establishing healthy routines, what does that mean? Chunk your efforts. Don't look at like getting ready with your meals like one big marathon that you have to do a whole day or anything like that. Chunk your efforts so that things are readily, easily available in your environment. Some examples here which some of you may recall is making that vegetable bin choose a day when you go grocery shop. Instead of putting those veggies inside, take some time to wash them, chop them so that readily available there, which means that whenever you go grocery shopping, for example, I go grocery shopping early in the morning on Saturday because I don't like crowd. I like my time to go and pick out whatever I want without people kind of running to each other. So I come back, everybody in the home is sleeping. I take the time to make my vegetable bin week after week after week after week, so that I have veggies readily available. If I want to do a stir fry or do something on the stove, it's all readily available, and it's now one step closer to making it into my system, right? I think I have one more, yes. And it takes very little time, like 5 to 10 minutes, right? When somebody says, oh, I don't have time to, cut my veggies. Well, can you chunk your efforts? Can you find that small pocket of sacred time when you are able to plan ahead and, get things in place so that you are setting your environment for success? And we all love snacks, and pre-plan for success, like one of us mentioned here, and pick 2 snacks. For example, here, as I know, there is some apple and some nuts in there. The second is some hummus and some veggies. I love a good yogurt with some blueberries. Blueberries are slowly coming back into season. Pears are in season now, with some hard-boiled eggs in the afternoon when I am like really tired after my patients. Before I hit home, I have my small snack so that I'm not grabbing into things that is not health supporting for me, that is not in alignment with my values and my goals. So it's pretty easy to pre-plan, chunk a time that is possible for you and keep things ready available for your goals, right? And with Thanksgiving coming, with Christmas around the corner, right? Those parties or those get-togethers are going to happen. What can you do when you go to those parties? Load your veggies first. There will definitely be something in there that is going to be, full of veggies. Load your plate with those vegetables, those plants, so that you are putting your seat belt, just like how when you drive, you put your seat belt first. So load your veggies first, and that's just going to take 5 to 10 seconds, having that mindset before even you go there, or maybe even carrying a salad to that get together, so that there is something that is health supporting for you, right? And then I think my evening population, who are people who actually go to work, one of the challenges that my patients have is, oh, for lunch I don't eat, or my co-workers will call me to go somewhere and I end up choosing something that is not health supporting for me. Pack a lunch every day night, right? Or plan your lunch ahead so that you can take it to work. So the idea here is to chunk your efforts so that it doesn't feel draining, and you are still able to give good energy to your prefrontal cortex so that it can take the right decisions. I do have a bonus, and if you are ready for that bonus, you can put your pens down, and there is a small little clip that I'm going to play. You can follow that clip. It's a calm guided meditation, and it takes around 6 minutes. follow through it. She'll take you into the experience. She'll take you out of the experience. I'm going to stand here and do it. So the bonus is training your prefrontal cortex, and one of the many strategies to train your prefrontal cortex is to practice guided meditation. And there is a lot of research that has mentioned that it calms you down, it brings you back to the present moment, and gives this part of the brain all good energy that it needs. Ready for it? Okay.
Begin to pay attention to your breathing as it is coming in and going out. Become aware of your body sitting and allow your whole body to relax, releasing any tension or anxiety. Sit upright with intention, stable, yet soft and relaxed. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. Aware of in-breath, aware of out-breath. Breathing in, I feel the quality of my breath, whether it is short or long, light or deep. Breathing out, I feel the quality of my out-breath. It may be shorter or longer than the in-breath. I mentally note the breath as it is. Quality of in-breath, quality of out-breath. Breathing in, I arrive with my in-breath. Breathing out, I feel at home with my out-breath. In-breath arriving, out-breath at home. Breathing in, I feel calm. Breathing out, I feel at ease. Calm, ease. Take a moment to offer yourself appreciation and gratitude for having taken the time to do this guided meditation. Allow this energy of calm and awareness to support you throughout your day.
You can open your eyes. Yep, just kind of awareness. That was just 5 minutes. That's it, right? It feels very calming. And so, what are your 2 willpower experiments that you want to experiment with this upcoming week with the intention of just practicing unattached to the outcome? And those experiments are here. They are also going to be part of the 4-week series that I have with a lot of love, intention crafted. The first week would be looking at your sleep and how you can get set up for dinner, but actually your whole day routine, starting with your morning routine, with your wind down routine, how you can set up. The second week is we will add how you can get prepared with snack and address your stress along with paying attention to your wind down routine and getting set up with dinner. The third week will be we will build on top of week 1, week 2 and add activity or physical movement with lunch. And the fourth week would be everything week 1, week 2, week 3 and add breakfast and water. It's going to happen October 8th, 15th, 22nd and 28th, morning and evening, 11 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Just a note there, next week, the morning class will be at Neighborhood Palace because I say always Palace, Neighborhood Place, because this place is going to be booked, but the evening class will be here. You will get access to the app where you are able to, say that I invested my efforts on this particular action on this particular day, but you know what, on this day I was not able to do it. When you are not able to do it, it's not like you failed at it. It's the feedback. You are able to reflect and see why that happened. What can you do better the next day, the next opportunity that you have? So there is access to resources and apps and to me all through the program, through the app. You can message me and whatnot. So I am looking forward to walking side by side with you for the upcoming 4 weeks with the intention of improving your willpower muscles so that you are able to craft your daily actions in a way that is in alignment with your highest values and your biggest goals. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm here for any questions.